In these problems, we're being asked to simplify fractions. So you might know already that a fraction can actually have the same value and be expressed with a lot of different numbers. For example, 1/2 is the same as 2/4, and that's the same as 50 1/100ths. All of those are really the same thing. They all simplify down to 1/2. So the trick sometimes when we're doing math is we have this fraction and we need to put it in simplest form. We need to take it from 50 100ths down to that 1/2 where it can't be simplified any further. There are a couple different ways to think about how to do this. I think the way that I do it most often is I ask myself, what is something I can divide the top and the bottom by? Is there something in common that I can divide each one by? So, for example, in 2/4 here, I could divide the top by 2, I could divide the bottom by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2, and so if I do that, I would get 1/2. Here, I could divide the top by 50 and the bottom by 50, and I'd get 1/2. Sometimes it's hard to know what number you can do, so sometimes you try a number and then there's still more simplification to do, so you try again, and that's okay to do it in multiple steps. This first one here is 6 over 36, and it kind of jumps out at me right away that I could divide both of these by 6, because you can divide any number by itself, and I know 36 is divisible by 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 36 divided by 6 is 6. That's in the simplest form, and I know it is because I have a 1 on top, so there's never any further you can go if you get a 1 on top. If I've got something other than a 1 on top, I would need to ask myself again, is there some number that they can both be divided by? If there's not, then you're good. You're in simplest form. Let's try this next one. We have 24 over 64, and I don't know what the biggest thing is that they all have in common, the common factors in those. So I could just start doing what I know. I know both of them are even, so they could be divided by 2. So let's just try that. We'll do this one in multiple steps. So 24 divided by 2 is 12. 64 divided by 2 is 32. Now that's not simplest form because I can see they can both still be divided by 2. So let's do it again. So divide by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. 32 divided by 2 is 16. Wow, look at that. They're both still even, so I can still divide by 2. Let's just do that. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 16 divided by 2 is 8. Okay. Now the only things I could divide 3 by is 3, and 8's not divisible by 3, so that's it. This is simplest form. So 24/64 is 3/8. Okay. One other way you can approach this is you can factor these things and cancel. Let me show you what I mean. We have 35 over 28 here. 35 is 5 times 7. So I'm just going to write the 35 as 5 times 7. On the bottom, we have 28. 28 is 4 times 7. When all the numbers on the top are multiplied, all the numbers on the bottom are multiplied, you can cancel if you see anything in common. So in this case, the 7's are in common and can cancel, and we just get 5/4. This is really the same thing as just dividing the top and the bottom by 7. It's just a slightly different way to think about it. You'd come out with the same answer either way. So that's a little bit of work with simplifying fractions.